Hey, how's everybody doing today? We're back. Pat, how
We
you
are.
doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. I hope we can hear you this week. Let me actually do a quick check. Um, we last week we did a stream where we played a Ninja Turtle game, the Shredder's Revenge, and then realized that Pat's audio wasn't going out. And then we sat down today to try to figure out why that happened. And we think it was an issue with we were trying to fix something with Pat's audio on his end, and it we broke something on my end. So yeah, so I think we got it fixed. Pat, say something.
I am here. Everybody hear me? Hello, 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 hello.
Okay, good, good, good. Yep, I think it is working. Yeah, it was super weird because like
Oh,
OBS.
we got confirmation as well.
Thank you, thank you, Mark.
Th- Thank
Hey,
you,
hey,
Mark.
hey, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
It's always nice to get people in the chat that we could talk to. And actually, I need to pull my chat over so I could actually see it a little bit better. There we go. Cool. So we can hear Pat, which is always great because Pat's the gibberish, and he's the one you really
Yeah,
want to listen to.
exactly. Gibberish. What would this show be without the gibberish?
Yeah. So that Ninja Turtle episode, we scrapped it. It's gone. We'll do it again. I like that game, Shredder's Revenge. It's an awesome game. Um, if you haven't played it, go get it and play it. It's just like Turtles in Time or the arcade game
It
that
is.
basically is Turtles in
Yeah,
Time. You
it's
know?
so fun. I haven't had because I don't like uh modern video games. I really don't. I've tried to get into some of them. The only one I've gotten into, I liked Batman, the Arkham Asylum games,
Mhm.
and I liked the Spider-Man game. But again, like those are very like I'm just being a superhero and I like superheroes, so hooray!
Yeah.
So those I'm always an easy mark for those games too. Like people are always like, "Oh, this game is terrible." It's like, but you got to be like, I played the Green Lantern game a lot, the movie game,
Yeah, that game
of
sucks though.
of of which Ryan Reynolds is in. He really believed in that property. But yeah, I mean, I loved every minute of that game because, for all intents and purposes, I was a video game Green Lantern, and that's awesome. It takes a lot to disappoint me for those kinds of games, honestly. But my heart will always be in the side-scrolling action adventure genre. Um, I love my X-Men arcade game, of which I play many emulators on. The reason I still have a PlayStation 3 is because they released it on the PlayStation Store. You could buy it, and it would not let me put it on my PlayStation 4. It's
Really?
like, nope, it's gone now.
Wow.
As far as it's concerned, it doesn't exist anymore. So I have to keep my PlayStation 3 so I can play my X-Men
Your
on console.
your PlayStation 3 is basically just a console for the one game now.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I'm thinking about building an arcade cabinet just to hold
That's actually a pretty good idea.
the PlayStation 3 because why
Yeah.
not at this point?
Kids today don't understand buying like a single thing. Like, hey, you have to buy this entire machine to play one game, like the Tiger handhelds and stuff like that.
Oh
Even though those
yeah.
came out at the same time as like cartridge games. Kids today, Pat, kids today.
Oh, those kids. Oh, those kids. Speaking of those kids, it was nice seeing you and your kids the other day, yesterday.
Yeah, maybe for you.
I've I haven't seen your kids in a long time. It was nice seeing them.
Yeah.
So
They're getting very tall and I don't like it.
yeah, that's the trouble, right? As you know, mine is 9, and she is just so big.
Yep.
So I still make her, because I'm big,
Hmm.
so I just scoop her up sometimes still, and I'll hold her like a baby. But she's like this, and I'm like, oh, you're my little baby.
My kids still try to climb on me as if they are light, and it just like throws my back out. And I'm like, you kids have to
I
realize you're not
was gonna say,
small anymore.
I've seen that several times last night. Those kids were all over you.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
So, but yeah, it was good. It was a good time.
Yep.
Um, so all in all, having a pretty good weekend. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. We're usually here on Friday nights,
Hmm.
so
This is true.
this this is fun for me.
Yeah, we were hanging out IRL yesterday, and so we
Yeah.
didn't we couldn't do the stream. Um, I don't know. I actually got home in time to do the stream because we're old and we don't stay out
You
late.
know,
But
it was really funny because I was on the way home. I was like, should I text Brian and tell him? Because I only left like maybe 15 minutes after you did. I was like, should I tell him we should do the stream? And I was like, I'm sure he's tired.
I was. But either way, I'm always
And
tired. I'm tired right
he
now.
had to get the kid to bed and everything afterwards, so it would have been like an hour and a half late.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have left us enough time. So
No. No. No.
anyway,
Anyway,
yeah.
so we got some topics today. I think all
Topics.
the topics are Pat's topics. I don't have anything going on. I did get actually. You know what? I have a quick thing. I did get the animated Jean Grey.
Oh,
That's
I did too, but mine's downstairs,
that's
so
the
you can
only.
talk about that one.
I mean, it's the Jean Grey figure painted with cell shading stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of, I liked the figure. I wish they would go harder or softer, one of the two. You know
I
what I mean?
don't know
Like,
what that means.
well, I'm gonna explain. I feel like they go almost all in on the cell shading, but then not quite enough. Like okay, the Jean did not get a new head. That
No.
is the exact same head that came in the 3 pack. Um,
Right.
but her hair, it's
There's this one with the
un.
ponytail, and then this one which has a better looking face
Yeah.
with a lot more
I
hair.
I did decide to go with that one
Did you really?
uh in
Yeah.
my display. I but I
I
haven't.
don't know.
The ponytail is very iconically animated. You know
Yeah,
what
it
I mean?
is. That's the thing, is
Uh,
that's what I'm going for.
but I still think because she wore her hair down sometimes, and uh,
She
yeah.
does. If you move her arm up, she doesn't say "Oh Scott," but she does do that noise.
Oh, thank you. Look at that. We got a
Ah,
subscription
yes.
uh,
That thing happens
channel.
so infrequently, I always forget that it's there. I love it.
What is that? I'm surprised and I'm afraid. Uh, it's our subscription. I love it. Um, but yeah, the Gene itself, it's a fine figure. If I was looking side by side 100%, I still might lean towards 3 pack Gene for like a fully iconic Gene.
Mhm.
But I do like the cell shading in her outfit, so I'm going to keep the animated one. Um, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Like the Wolverine barely has enough cell shading for me for it to be like, but it does. It came with
But
the iconic head. You know what
it's
I
got
mean?
the
That
iconic
was
head, and the colors are brighter. It's
yes.
actually the colors I think that do it for me.
I
Mark,
think the
thanks
Wolverine
for
is a fantastic figure. Let me
yeah,
say,
thanks for subscribing, Mark. We miss you. We wish we saw you more often. Thanks for coming and thanks for subscribing. We appreciate it.
heck yeah. And we're happy to give out this kind of love to many others if they like to show up too.
Hmm.
We love Mark Fishman. We
Hmm.
love you.
Yes, we do.
Um, so, but yeah, the animated figures. Like I said, Jubilee. I decided, nah, I'm not even going to keep the animated one. I stole a pair of the glasses from it, and I was like, I
I,
I like I like the regular edition one better. I don't love like the yellow gloves and the yellow jacket, even though that is exactly how she was on the show.
mhm.
It's too much yellow for me. Like as a artsy fartsy guy, I like the blue breaking up the yellow
There's
in the gloves.
Yeah, I kind of regretted getting this Jubilee. I'm still holding it here because I haven't swapped it out in the.
Uh,
It's still on my desk from before. I haven't swapped it out in my display yet because there's so little actual cell shading on her that it's like, I,
It's just like I said, the
that's
glasses
probably
are
the one
really
that I
cool.
regret. I
I
just,
love the lines in the glasses and everything. So that's why I
I'm,
was like, I'll just take these glasses off
I'm
her. And
actually really just collecting them for the boxes,
yeah,
honestly.
the
I have to
box art
put
is
this on a
amazing.
shelf and make it
I
look like
love
there's
it.
a. Where did I put my jean box? Hold on.
Oh, don't
I
lose your
put
gene
it.
box.
Yeah, where here it is.
Well,
Yeah,
okay,
so
so
there's the jean box, in case anyone was
it's
wondering.
really good. I see they omitted the highlights. You know what I mean? Look at that suit. She's got those white highlights
Hmm.
that really do make the cell shading, work, and they did not put those. So again, like I feel like they should either go harder, give us those highlights, give us those sheens,
Sheen gray.
or
You have to wait for the
you know,
sheen gray variant.
the sheen gray. I like that. Um, so again, what are we waiting on? We're just waiting on Morph now, right?
More, I think that's the only other one that's been
That's
announced. Yeah.
the only other figure. Well, I think this wave is done. I think Morph was the end of this wave, and hopefully we're gonna get more. I mean, I really think they would be dropping the ball if we don't get a cool Cyclops in this line.
Why do you think? I mean, they release these like once a month. Why would you call these a wave?
I don't know. I think that's I felt like somebody said that at one point in one of the drops. Maybe I made
Maybe.
that up though.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows
Um,
with those guys?
and well, I mean, like, here's the thing: we're also Morph is going to be out any time now,
Hmm.
and he was the last one announced. So I mean, unless they announce something new, they just did that Beast, which I was actually kind of bummed about because he
Yeah.
was definitely not cartoon Beast.
I had to double check that one to make sure that it wasn't because it was actually it would be if I didn't already have a similar Beast figure,
Right.
um, that would have been a fine stand-in for an animated one, but it doesn't come with the box. I want the
Yeah,
box.
doesn't come with a
I
box,
don't.
and the head. Animated Beast's head is very iconic. I bought one off of eBay. It's beautiful. It looks very animated, and it was very simple. Just pop that head on that the last blue Beast that came out, which is exactly like this one, sans the lab coat. But then I stole the lab coat off of the. You remember that big 6 pack of X-Men Marvel Legends with horrifyingly ugly Rogue?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You know the one. You know the
Hmm.
one. That beast had a lab coat, so I just took that and put it on my new beast, and I was happy. Um, but yeah, like there's definitely a couple of characters. I would love an animated Magneto. I think that would be a really cool looking figure, especially if they give him like a where they paint everything black except for his eyes and
Hmm.
nose, give him that kind of shading and everything. That would be
Yeah, but
really
then also
cool.
give me the gorgeous flowing white hair
Yes.
head.
Oh,
I
absolutely,
need that.
absolutely. Gotta have both. Gotta have both.
These
And
are
then of course, oh,
go
good.
ahead. I'm trying to find these on their website, and they don't really have a brand of their own. Like they're part of Marvel Legends, but
They don't have like the animated series section yet.
yeah.
But again though, so they announced this morph, which I have been dying for a morph figure. I have a half completed custom morph sitting in a box. I just could never find the right head, and I still haven't because they gave us a bullshit head. I am there's I hate they could have taken the arcade head, the one that they put with the long hair, which they shouldn't, the one that's smiling one,
Hmm.
that head with new tooled hair, and it would have been fine.
Hmm.
The head that they gave us is garbage. It is
Yeah, it's weird.
garbage. And on top of it, like I follow, I think I can't remember if I follow the actual artist or just somebody who worked on the figure. He specifically said, he's like, yeah, we specifically didn't go with the animated version. It's like it's for the animated series, you putzes, son
Yeah,
of a bitch.
yeah.
Why would you like that head? There is nothing about that head that looks like Morph.
Nope.
In fact, what that does look like is it looks like Cyclops without his visor on.
Yeah, especially because it's the jacket and everything. Like it literally looks like Cyclops without the jacket. It's so
Now
it's
the
so
other
weird.
head is not bad.
No, the other head is good, and the thing that they did is they made his hair brown, like in the one episode where he came back and his hair was inexplicably brown.
Right.
You know, every other appearance in season 1 and 2, his hair is black, and it's correct in the
Look at the
box art.
box. Look at his haircut. Look at the shape of his face.
Yeah,
Look at the fact that he's smiling. Now go back to the head that we got, and it's nothing is there. He's not smiling. He's scowling. Like Morph was not a scowler.
mm-mm.
This character should have been smiling. He should not have had that big, superhero-y chin. He should have had a very gaunt, long face. Like nothing about this figure is right. They 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 screwed the pooch. They screwed the pooch on a figure that I've been waiting my whole adult life for. Because I tell you what, I left it
Duck face
downstairs.
morph.
I just I just
He is. He's
found
making yeah, he's making that face.
my original Toy Biz morph, the actual figure. I have one in the box over here that the head is great. The figure, those old figures, they're shitty, but they got his likeness okay, much better than this one. So I got to wait 30 years between morphs, and this is the bullshit that they give me.
Hmm.
Now, what I'm seriously considering doing is trying to take matters into my own hands and
Uh,
buy some hydro shrink.
hmm.
You've heard of hydro shrink,
I can
maybe?
I can kind of put together what that is.
It's a casting material,
Hmm.
and I when I bought the 12-inch animated Wolverine from Mondo, he came with a morph head that looks much more accurate than that one. And but it's for 12-inch, so I have to cast it and shrink it down. Now, I've never done such a thing, so I imagine that might take me a few tries to get it just right. But for heaven's sakes, I've waited this long. I was so excited too because I was like, oh man, I have this like half finished morph custom. I bet they'll give you a bad guy and a good guy version, so I'll just pop one of the heads on the custom I have. But they only gave us one good head.
Yeah. The problem with this whole line is just that it seems like they've just been trying to reuse every possible thing. Like there's no truly unique parts for most of these figures anywhere,
Right.
you know?
Now, but again, Lo, I think I always thought that it was a travesty. The last Wolverine head, the one that came in the 3-pack, and with I think it was the Apocalypse wave. He had these weird, like, way tight to the side
Hmm.
ears, and I hated them. Oh, I hate that version of that mask. And then the animated one has those perfect Bullwinkle like, how you doing, Cyclops?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, but
You got it. You nailed it. Do I still
when
have
you
one of those
would,
sitting over here? Trying to think. Oh, I think I
well,
got
and I mean
this is the
that's the
non-animated one.
best part too, is
But
because they
this is kind of what you mean. Like they're to the
yeah,
side
they
and they're
just go
flipped
straight.
back.
Yeah, when he's in his profile, it looks good. When he's looking straight at you, he looks like Batman.
Yeah, get that in front of my
You
face.
know, it just is. It's just not. It's not good. But
One of
yeah,
his claws has popped out. There it
the
is.
big fins. Oh, that's another thing. The animated claws are perfect.
Yeah, they're way
Like
better than the.
the way they figured them out, like the plastic is just malleable enough not to stab anybody, but they don't like get wonky either. You know, they're just perfect. However, I hope they continue that on with every new Wolverine figure. And let me go on record as saying, I don't know, this has nothing to do with anything I've been saying up
Are
until
you?
now.
Is this going to get you canceled? Are you
No,
about to? Okay.
I want to go on record as saying that I desperately want
Hmm.
a 2-pack of Hulk and Wolverine in white tuxedos, like that one cover.
Hmm.
Wolverine with the patch.
Hmm.
I want patched Wolverine, white tuxedos, so Wolverine can kind of lean on them. It'll be like twins. Oh, I would pay very good money for that
I'm
two
sure
pack.
they've got the body for that for Wolverine. I'm not quite sure if they would
They,
have something they
they
could
do.
redo.
They have a Mister Fix It. They did a
Oh,
build a
did they
figure
really?
Mister Fix It. Yeah.
Oh.
So it would be. It's just a matter of a slight retooling, I
This
think.
this feels like a Comic Con exclusive kind of thing, and they should do that. Write them a letter.
I'll take it. I'll take it. You know, if I gotta. So
Speaking of morph, it just occurred to me a long chain of thoughts upon my mind occurred to me, Pat, that I did get something cool this week, and it's
oh
it's the new Red Ranger Power Sword, the
oh
one that I
that's
originally paid $25 for, and then they were
yeah.
like, no, 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 you got
Oh,
to pay all the money.
pay
Uh,
all the hundreds. Was it 200?
I
Was it
it was
250? Did they miss a zero, or was it just
no, it wasn't like they just
where did the 25 come from? That's where I want to
it,
know.
it wasn't like a mathematical error because it was only like no, I don't remember how much, but it wasn't 250. It was 100 and it was in the upper
Okay.
hundreds, I think. Um,
They
but
probably just the figures were 25 around
it was
that point, probably. So
yeah, it was either that they put in the well, the yeah, I don't know. I think they probably just put in 25 because it was like 25 even. They were just like, I'll just put in 25
gotcha.
until someone tells me how much it is,
Right.
and then they went live with
Placeholder.
it. So, but why don't we go back to before we do that? Because I'll slip that in somewhere because I have it up in the rafters by the
Maybe
dinosaurs.
when you go get a drink,
Yeah, which
we'll
is going to be a while because man, I got the big one today, the Bubba.
oh, oh, oh.
So it'll be a while before I am taking a drink break. Um, You wanted to rant about Walmart for a few minutes, and can I tell you,
I
I still haven't been able to find a Cosmos anywhere.
I me either. That's a way that can be part of our rant. So the rant. Remember, the rant leads into the other thing. So
Sure, of
it's
course, I
going to
remember
start.
everything.
It's going to start with the notion that I was very excited that McFarlane brand um, toys has decided to bring back Superpowers, one of the most iconic toy lines of our lives, I would say. Certainly the most iconic toy line DC's ever been.
Certainly, someone's lives.
So yeah, indeed. Um, and so I was very excited, and it was weird because it hasn't happened like this in gosh, probably since I was a kid, that the toy line was a complete shock. It was released in stores for months before Todd even thought to tell anybody that he was making them. It was the weirdest. Like all of
Slipped
a
his
sudden, just on
mind.
toy boards, people were showing up and they were showing these figures, and everybody's like, "What is that? Is that a custom? Those are cool. That's weird. Why are they making these?" Because and again, I do feel like to a point, this toy line is very conflicted because it's the original packaging, like bright colors, fantastic, beautiful poppy things. There are vehicles, which was I was really not expecting. Um, and the vehicles are so fun and silly and ridiculous, but the figure designs are based on modern day, which is weird. But not completely. Like so they put out Superman, Batman, Darkseid, and John Stewart Green Lantern. The John Stewart Green Lantern was a weird, like, for some reason the first three figures were released, and then John was thrown in the mix after that. And so I have here, so I've got Darkseid right there. You can see on the back here, GL not listed, but you can see the vehicles and the figures. The figures are only or 9.99, which is a really good price point these days. And the vehicles, the Batwing is $20 and the Supermobile is $30. So I mean,
Mobile.
it's
Is
really
the
not bad at all.
I'm not super familiar with superpowers, but is the supermobile just his baby buggy, the thing they
No,
shot him
so
to Earth in?
this is an interesting thing, and this is a very cool thing, and this is also part of why this is such a weird line. So the Supermobile, there was a Supermobile that came out in the '80s, and it was just like a little shuttle. It looked akin to the type of things that um that you might see baby Kal-El fly here in,
Mm.
but there was a Supermobile in the comic books that even made it to Corgi, not the dog.
Yeah,
There
oh
was
no,
like
I
an
don't.
old
No, that's a type of.
there's an old like diecast car line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and they made one of these back in like the '60s. And so I have here
Oh, geez,
the Supermobile, and you can see that it is ridiculous.
this is the new one.
This is brand new. This you can see the little McFarlane uh toy down here. Um and but it's got the silly little fists on it. It's wonderfully, I haven't opened it yet, so we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna open it in a minute
Can
because
this?
you have to remember that this was a rant about Walmart.
Yes, yes, yes. I made sure that we put the things in the correct order here, but I'm just letting
Oh,
you
cool,
roll right
cool.
into this. Um, in a contest between Superman and Superman's car, which one can punch harder? Because I
I
feel
would
like
say I would say Superman,
mhm,
probably,
yeah,
most
okay,
likely.
good, good. Because like I
Um,
feel like if Batman had a punching car, that would be
sure,
an improvement.
sure.
You know,
Yeah.
if Iron Man had a
This
punching car, that'd probably be something he'd actually do. Like that's probably within the realm of possibility, and that would be good. I feel like Superman.
I'm with you. This is one of those ridiculous 60s concepts. Um I'm going to see when the Supermobile was first conceived. Um
Mhm,
and like I said, it's a it harkens back to the old Action Comics. Oh yeah, okay, so here Action Comics when they were uh number 481 in 1978, and it shows him, oh maybe it's, so in this cover he's fighting a Mazo.
send me a link so I
So
can put it up on the screen.
perhaps
Or
he
should I just Google it?
no, here I'll give you the link. It's the Wikipedia article for the Supermobile. um Perhaps Superman was not using his powers so as not to let a Mazo copy him.
Ah,
that was the need for it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so I want to get to the Walmart part of this, and then we're going to get to look at the toys. So I've been very excited for these. They've been popping up everywhere. There's allegedly a big cardboard display now. You know, like one of those big, like middle of the aisle cardboard displays where they've got all four figures very well stocked. The vehicles stocked on one side, and the new page punchers. I don't know if you've seen those or heard about those. The page punchers are weird. They are these little like 3-inch figures, very tiny, very articulated figures, and all of them come with a comic book. And I want to say they're $7. Um, but anyway, I haven't purchased any of those yet. I will review them once I get a hold of one. Yeah, there he is. There he is. It's a
That's pretty
bird. It's a
fantastic.
plane. It's Supermobile. Um, and so, like I said, the original Superpowers line put out a Supermobile, but it was very basic, very you know, kind of silly animated, or not animated, but it was just I think they put out roughly the same mold as a Lex Luthor plane as well, you know. So the fact that this came out, and again, like I'm saying, it's such a weird mishmash. You know, we have this Supermobile that is classic, late 70s, early 80s designed, but you're this is definitely like new 52 dark
Yeah.
side, you know. So I really wish that he would kind of make up his mind. I will say, if you look, because I don't have any of the other figures, we'll get to that in a second. But if you look at the back here, you can see that both Batman and Superman do have the undershorts on the outside.
Mhm.
So, and the Superman is very classic looking, but the Batman, I want to say the Batman is specifically Hush Batman, or like it's a specific storyline version of Batman. Um, Also, again, from what I've heard, the capes suck.
Yeah.
The
Are they
the,
cloth
the
or plastic?
they're cloth, but the fabric that they used are very poor, just very very poor.
Like
There's a guy
thin or
who's,
like stiff or
I
I
don't know
want I
since I
want
don't
all the
have them yet.
deets.
But they, as soon as I get them, I'll tell you about. There's a
What
guy
why
making a
didn't you
killing
get them?
right now. What's that?
Why didn't you get them, Pep?
Well, okay, let me tell you. So, um, they came out on the website, and they were all available. I was able, except for Green Lantern. For some reason, Green Lantern is still not listed on the site. Um, I don't know why. I don't know what the deal is. Like you can find him if you search like Walmart. Um, if you search Walmart John Stewart Superpower 5-inch, it'll come up with the link, and you can click on it. But if you search on the Walmart site for John Stewart Green Lantern Superpowers, it will not come up. So anyway, so all of these, all the whole thing except for John Stewart were up on the site and available. I clicked them all, put them in my cart, bought them. They charged my card. Everything went through just fine. They were all supposed to be delivered from store. I was like, okay, cool. That day, the Supermobile was left on my doorstep and nothing else. And it was accurately marked. It was marked that was delivered, and the rest were delayed. And I was like, okay, okay. Um, a couple of days went by, and they said, "Oh, we're shipping you one." And that's where Darkseid came from. His box was all crushed because they used the wrong size box. They just smooshed him in there, which is fine because I open them, but a lot of people don't. Um, and so they, and then everything else was still listed, coming but delayed. Then a couple of days ago, they said, "Hey, we delivered Superman. Superman's been delivered, and we are canceling Batman and the Bat Wing or whatever it is." I was like, "Oh, well, that sucks." But then I looked, and I say, I've got one of those Ring doorbells where
Mhm.
you know for a fact if somebody comes to your door. And
Mhm.
I was like, it said it was delivered today at like 12:30, but I didn't get a Ring notification that anybody was at my door. So I went and I looked, and nobody came to my door. I was like, hmm. I looked at the message that they sent me. The message that they sent me specifically said, "Hey, here's a picture of where we left your item, so you'll know where to find it."
Hmm.
With nothing attached to it. There is no picture.
Ah.
So I went to Walmart and I was like, "Hey, Walmart, what the fuck?"
Hmm.
Uh,
And they're
and they
like, ooh,
said,
language.
"Oh, you know what? You have to wait 48 hours because sometimes stuff gets marked delivered but isn't really delivered for 48 hours." It's like that is nothing but lies,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Well, I mean, that person may have been telling you the truth, but what she's telling you the truth about is like, hey, sometimes we lie a lot.
Um,
That way
so
we don't get in trouble by our bosses, and hopefully you'll still get your thing eventually.
today is officially the 2 day mark. So I forgot to call them. I'll have to call them tomorrow to get my money back. Um, and so here's another. So then I was looking online. I said, okay, at one of my nearby WalMarts, it said they're all in stock.
Yeah.
Uh, Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I put
They're all
them all in
liars,
my
though.
cart and I say I'll pick it up. I say, okay, pick it up. I pick it up. It was going to be basically I would drive over there after work and pick them up. I said, perfect. Buy them. They charge my card. About 10 minutes before I'm supposed to pick them up, I get an email that said, none of this stock exists. Sorry, your order's been canceled.
I think a similar thing happens at Target where it's basically like that system updates like daily, and if someone goes into the store and just buys them off the shelf, then
Well, so
like
here's the
then
thing.
the system doesn't update until much later, and then the person goes to grab it for you and they're like, "Oh, no, not here."
I actually think it's well, I don't know about worse than that, but it is lazier than that. I think that the product is marked in, but it's not on the floor. And
Oh,
so
no.
when the person goes to shop, they're like, I can't find it. Sorry, this doesn't exist.
Mhm.
Because as I did moments before this show opened, I checked again and all of the items are available again from the store. So I'm trying one more time. I should be able to pick them up tomorrow morning. Probably won't. But the difference is that I'm going there tomorrow morning regardless. Because if I can't pick them up, I'm going into the store and saying, hey, look, these show that they're here somewhere. Please find them. I'm going to buy them.
Yeah.
So, or they're just going to be sitting on the shelf, and then people just don't fucking want to look for them. Either way, I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
But enough Walmart. I hate Walmart. Fuck you, Walmart. If you're watching, I'm sure you're not, but fuck you. That's
I
three. We have to mark this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I'm still upset with them about the Cosmos thing because the
yeah, me too.
supposedly there's supposed to be like there he's one in a box, but supposedly people are able to order entire boxes of just Cosmos. And
I'm
but
hoping somewhere.
it's so the deal is they put out this line for the people watching at home. They put out
Mhm.
this line of Transformers it's essentially like a random smattering of Transformers that they've dumped into what they call a capsule of the Speedia 500. You know, it's they threw
Right.
them all under a brand kind of thing for a Walmart exclusive line, and all the other figures are cool, and all the other figures you could order from Walmart.com, but
Hmm.
not Cosmos. He's not on their website at all. You could have got him on Hasbro's website because Hasbro will also put their partner exclusives up there. But of course, Cosmos is very popular and sold out way before everybody else. Um, so your only bet is to go to a Walmart and find it. Everybody else you could still pre-order somewhere, either from Hasbro or Walmart. And it's shocking to me because some of the other figures are like we haven't gotten figures of these characters since like their original debut like 15 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, Cosmos. Everybody wants Cosmos, including me and you.
I love
He was
Cosmos. He
he
is
was a
one of
character
my
on the old podcast.
yes, he was. Yes, he was. I love Cosmos. He is my favorite Transformer,
Hmm.
all time favorite. Um.
Yeah, he's the
Oh, see,
in
I
the in the fiction of this Walmart exclusive line, he's like the race. He's like the person who waves the flag at the.
Yeah, he comes with a flag. I think it's I'm gonna throw that flag away if I can,
Yeah, it's.
because I
I'm,
think it's
I'm
dumb.
pretty sure
But
you can. I'm pretty sure you can. I
it
don't.
looked like it was just kind of stuck on him anyway, you know. So it's like,
It. Yeah, it integrates with his gun,
right,
but yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's funny because like everybody in the line is supposedly like it's a race, right? So it's supposed to be like really fast cars and stuff, but then it's like, but we threw this oil tanker in there because everyone wants that figure, and we could do a quick repaint. So he's like bringing fuel to the race, and everybody loves
sure,
Cosmos,
sure,
So he's like, he's a UFO, so he's just gonna wave the flag, and oh, and then this other guy is like a crane truck. Like they'll probably crash and they'll need someone to come out and like, clean it up on the thing. So we got the crane guy in there. And then we got like
sure.
three guys that go really fast, and they could have a race. Is that dog was still walking around behind you there?
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
That's
Cosmos, Mark Cosmos.
Cosmos.
Look up the
Yes,
new look up the new figure from the Velocitron Speedia 500 line. You know
it's
what? Let
a.
me just bring it
I
up.
was gonna say
I have the internet here.
I have quite the collection of Cosmos figures. I will own this figure.
They've
Um,
done three figures of Cosmos since G1.
yeah.
Each one gets a little bit better, but this one
The
is
last one, I
definitely,
mean, the last one was great. Don't get me wrong. I actually have several of that last one. This one is much more accurate though.
yeah, it's
The last
larger.
one cut like a nice little superhero-y, like he had a good
Yeah, his arms were,
physique to him. This one is chunky though, and that's how Cosmos always
yeah,
was.
you could,
That's probably part of why I loved him, you
yeah, you
know.
could see there his flag here.
Ugh,
That's
just throw that
that he's holding his gun by the barrel, and you put the flag on the
right.
side and everything, and so, but like
It looks like it pops off.
that
I'm just gonna
vehicle
throw
mode is
that.
just fantastic.
It is. It's perfect. It is. I own many, not all. There
Oop,
was a
there it
couple
is.
that snuck by me, but I own many of the third party Cosmos figures. And I mean, it's just he's a UFO. He's a UFO that turns into a funny little chunky guy, and he talks like this.
Yep. His
And
he
what was
in the in the world of robots in disguise, he's like one of the few characters whose disguise raises way more questions than just his normal mode. Like everybody knows there's Transformers, in the world.
right?
Everybody knows this, common knowledge. And but you never know what things might be a Transformer. But then you look up and there's like a UFO, and
Right.
you're just like, I guess I got to be scared or freaked out because it's a UFO, but is it a Transformer? And is that better or worse? I don't know. Anyway, he's not hiding as a UFO. I did love his IDW original IDW persona, which was his job was basically that they would send him up to space to be the communications relay, and he just had to spend all of his time alone to the point where he just eventually became friends with Soundwave because he was the only one who would
Right,
talk to him.
right. Him and Soundwave, which Mark pointed out that he owns
Yes,
Soundwave.
and
Soundwave is
now you need a
my
Cosmos so
two
they can be friends.
favorite, right? My two favorite Transformers: Soundwave, Cosmos. I like Optimus, of course. Bumblebee, maybe. Megatron's okay,
Hmm.
but Soundwave and Cosmos, absolute my favorite. So I obviously loved it when Brian told me that they became close friends in the comic. It's like, oh, that's just right to my heart. I appreciate that.
Yep,
I appreciate
yep.
that.
Now,
Um,
if you want Mark, if you want a Megatron that turns into a gun, you have a few options.
Sorry, this.
Yeah, okay, go for it. You got a few options. Let me switch back to the thing here. You got G1. You could probably find an original G1 without a bunch of the accessories and stuff. It'll be expensive. There have been reissues, not in America, but Takara Tomy has reissued it a few times. You might be able to find one of those. If you don't want one of those, uh, MP5, I want to
Yeah,
say. MP5 Megatron, Masterpiece Megatron number 5. Um, Terrible figure. Um, I don't recommend it, but he's probably cheap.
I have one for sale.
There you go.
Hit me up.
He does turn into a robot and a gun, and the gun is oversized for a human because it's such a large. It's rather large, um, but you could do that. They're
Some
probably cheap.
assembly required.
Okay, fair enough. MP37, I want to say, is the much better one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Smaller, more correct for your hand, and very cartoon accurate robot mode. Um, then you got the classics one from 2006, which turns into a Nerf gun essentially, and then there's like six different repaints of that.
That
So
one's not bad, but
it's no, it's
I
not, it's not a good Megatron.
I prefer the regular gun. Honestly, the MP5 isn't that bad. It's just not as good. Once you see the MP whatever the 37 whatever, um that one's so good.
Hmm.
Like that's the real problem.
Yeah. Tell me more about tell me more about this sniper rifle transformer that you mentioned in the chat here, Mark. What is this? I haven't really been following the third parties as much, but I don't know. Is it a third party or just like a transforming thing? And then I will sit here in silence and wait for the response.
So
That's pretty cool. The the
is
the supermobile with the fists.
remove
Wait,
before use.
can the fists are is it always one sticking out further than the other, or
No, no, I'm gonna show you in a second. It's awesome.
the concept of a vehicle that's punching really makes me feel um like that's the whole premise of Rocket League. Do you know the game Rocket League? Has that
No.
seeped into your consciousness? Rocket League is a game that's essentially soccer but with cars instead of people. And so
Hmm.
you have to drive the cars around and hit a big ball into the goals, soccer. And it's ridiculous because it's cars and they bounce and they don't do physics the way cars normally would. Like they don't crash and burn and stuff like that. So it's super fun, but it's not realistic. Okay, that's really cool. Um, yeah. So yeah, I can go grab my Megatron, the masterpiece Megatron. He's sitting on the shelf over there on the masterpiece shelf. Um, Pat, what time we got here? Do you want let's talk about the do you want to do another topic or you want to talk about this thing a little bit and then I'll go grab some more water? Oh, how'd you do that?
Look at this
Here,
little
hold on. Let me
little
put you on the
fun
big screen here. Hold
stickers
on.
inside.
No, hold on. There you go. You got the
Look at
spotlight.
there's little fun stickers in there, little control panels. This is a beautifully wonderful little toy. So you got the little canopy there. You hit your Superman S here. I'm always going the wrong way here. Hit that, pops open. Fit your
That's
figure inside. I assume you fit
that's
your
like
figure inside.
Rock'em Sock'em Robot style, where if you had two of these things
Yeah,
and one of them punches you right in
trying.
the center, you you fall out.
You got this wonderful big chunky dial here that it's very high tech. I
Hmm.
love it. I love it so much. And then there's these on the back here. See, there's these little Superman diamond shape holes there.
That's pretty cool.
If you pop this open, they're little holding cells for bad guys. You put your bad guy in there, lock them up. You can still see their face
Oh,
in a
that's
little
actually
jail cell.
that's a good idea.
Um, this is so much fun. I am really really tempted to go dig out all of my superpowers figures just so I can get my superpower Superman in here.
That's
Um,
that reminds me of the Cheat Commandos one where they had the vehicle in continuity was
yeah,
called the action figure storage truck.
yes, absolutely. I love those. I did download all their playsets and toys when they had the little paper ones.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Download all our playsets and toys. All right, so here is Dark Side. And now, so Dark Side is a bad representation of this line again because he's in scale, so
Hmm.
he's quite tall. Like he is a big figure. Now, all of these figures are just ever so slightly out of scale with the original Superpowers figures. They like the originals were 3 3/4 inch. These are I don't know 3 and 7/8 or something. I don't know. They're all just like when you stand them next to each other, they're just a little bit too big.
Gonna get the
Um,
measuring tape out.
yeah, you gotta whip that sucker out. The toy is very solid. Um, like the plastic doesn't feel cheap at all. It's got nice texture to it. The paint apps are okay. I know that it wasn't part of his costume, but I really do feel like he would have done better with a cape. It would have made him look more superpowersy if he had a cape on. Um, but I mean, it's a nice little figure. And it's $10. A $10 figure. It's not bad. I mean, by today's inflation standards, that's probably about $5.
Yeah, I
You
know. It's
know.
like
So
it used to be back in the day you could pin a $20 bill to your kid and stick him on a plane and fly him across the country, and now you can't even stick a $20 bill on a kid and send him for a Marvel Legend.
right, that's very true. But yeah, I gotta say I love the packaging. The packaging is iconic. I will likely keep hold of this packaging for some time. Um, Not the figure cases. I could care less about the figures. I'll say this. I might buy an extra John Stewart to keep in the box just because I love Green Lantern so much. Um, I'm gonna double check something. I can already tell it's not gonna work, but Dark Side, yeah, definitely does not
It's not called Dark Seed.
in,
Yeah,
in the cockpit, and I can pretty much guarantee he's not gonna fit in the jail cell either.
you can't you can't keep Darkseid in a jail. No jail can contain him.
No jail can hold Dark Seed. Barely hold my foot. Actually, all I can think of when I think of Darkseid's voice is Weird Al now.
I know.
So
Yeah, Teen Titans.
uh,
Teen
I
Titans
love
did
that.
go.
I do love that. So all in all, I think these are absolutely worth every penny that they're asking for. Um, I'm really hopeful that next week I'm going to tell you guys about the other three figures in the line and the bat plane. Um, I don't think that the bat plane can beat how ridiculously cool this is because it doesn't have punching fists on it.
I need to do some research on that thing because I want to know, like, does it, is it as strong of a punch as Superman himself?
Well, do the digging, do the research, do the research, my friend.
Yep, I'm doing
Um,
it. The
so
Supermobile does not just duplicate Superman's powers, it acts as a conduit for the Man of Steel's powers, allowing him to channel them through the vehicle itself.
oh,
This, oh no, hold on. I need to make sure I can see this correctly here. I got to zoom in. Yes, okay. The Supermanium hull of the SMB, the Supermobile SMB,
mhm.
shields Superman from red solar radiation that would rob him of his powers, making it so that he remains at the height of
Oh,
his abilities as long as he is within the vehicle. So as long as he is, it's like the you're invisible as long as no one's looking at you kind of thing. He is as strong as he can possibly be as long as he does not get out.
fair, fair.
When Amazo remarks that no engine on Earth could react as quickly and easily as the Supermobiles, Superman responds, "You're right about that, Amazo. But who said anything about an engine?" Revealing that the vehicle is powered completely by Superman himself. I assume like Flintstone style.
Yeah, I was like, he's on a bike?
He's just pushing it because you know how he can move through the air like
Oh,
flying. He
right,
just like
right.
pushes it
He's
around.
he's he's holding it
Yeah, he's just
and
holding up
flying at
his
the
own
same
ship.
time. And then punching
Besides,
levers come out.
besides invulnerability in flight, the Supermobile also channels Superman's other powers using the following devices: large mechanical arms mounted on either side of the cockpit area, allowing Superman to both punch and grasp.
So
A
punch is a grab.
it is a scope on the control panel, which can be adjusted to work with each of Superman's vision-related powers, so he can see normally, telescopically, microscopically, X-ray and night vision, and apparently he can also just shoot his heat rays through the scope and it will come out the camera.
Nightcrawler and Colossus.
The air jets that pop out from various points around the vehicle, allowing Superman to use his super breath. He blows into the face mask attached to the control panel, and his breath shoots out the appropriate area of the thing, apparently.
I want to know why this information wasn't included on this
I want
box.
to know why your thing can't do all this stuff.
Right.
A monitor and other communications and listening devices substitute for his super hearing. So I just want to make it clear that they essentially Superman created a robot version of himself in spaceship form. That,
I mean, it's obviously useful though.
yeah,
I gotta say, the only things that this tells us is that it's Jail cell.
Hmm.
Punching action.
Hmm.
Canopy opens.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you need.
Those are
That's all
those are
you
the
need.
things.
Those
All
are
right.
all the things.
Let's take a break here, and
Okay.
I'm gonna refill my water. We'll take a little 2 minute break and be back, and I'll grab my sword, and then we'll talk about X-Men trading cards, Masters of the Universe, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Sandman show. That's the plan
Yes.
for the day. All right. See you in a few minutes. I was not actually ready to bring it back. Okay, I'm ready
Oh no,
now.
you're ready for this.
Oh no. Yeah. So we're back. I went and refilled my bubba and had a quick chocolate chip cookie, and then I grabbed the new the new power sword. I should have grabbed the old one too.
Right sword.
So I'm not going to grab it because it's already hard enough to get this thing onto the screen, but it's
This is epically large.
it's actually slightly smaller than the old Bandai one
Really?
by
That's cool.
like I don't know, like half an inch. Like they're comparable. This one
Oh,
this one feels better to hold Like it's lighter. Um, I don't know. It's I think the other one looks maybe more realistic. I just hit a button.
You don't
Sorry.
say.
I know that you probably can't hear it because it's probably sucking the sound effects out. I'll turn my filter off in a minute.
I don't know.
Um,
I heard something. So.
yeah. So I think it looks a little more toyish. It's kind of like the same with the Dragon Dagger. Like the
Okay.
Bandai one looks really premium. It's a little bit bigger. It looks like it's all chromed and everything. Whereas like the
Hmm.
Hasbro one is like clearly this is a toy you're supposed to play with and have fun with. Like the Hasbro one you can actually play the song on and everything. Like it's really and similar with the other one. The the blade on the old one is kind of foam and it has like a rod in it to keep it stiff. Um,
Uh-huh.
Presumably because they think you're going to hit people with it, but that kind of makes the blade look worse. So on this one, the details really stand out a lot better on the blade because it's a solid plastic blade. Um, but like this part is just really squared off, whereas on the other one it's tapered and everything. So, but I will show you the one feature that they added in. Let me turn off my so that my noise removal thing doesn't take out the. So you're going to hear all the noises now as I hold on. Move the mic back a little bit. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, so when you hit the one button, you get that, and then where's the speaker on this thing? I think it's down here. So you hear like a just like a humming noise to tell you it's ready to go, and so at the end of the Green Ranger saga, Jason runs his hand across his sword to like power it up, and then he throws it at Tommy, knocking the dragon dagger and the sword of darkness out of his hands, and then allowing Jason to defeat him and break the spell. So the sword now does this. You ready for this?
That's rad.
So yeah, it's sometimes it's really hold on. Sometimes it makes swishy noises when you swing it. There we go. But you have to really swing it and like
You
wait.
gotta mean it.
You have to really swing it a lot harder than you think you should. And as a person who doesn't want to break their house, it's really like you gotta really swing it like you can't like other things you can get from them. You could just kind of move them around and they make the noise, but you really gotta.
I like
Um,
the effort you're giving here. It's maximum effort, and I
I know
appreciate it.
I'm like it's a good thing you can like double grip it. But then it also
I mean,
does this.
it is huge.
Yeah,
So
hold on. I gotta turn it back on, and then so it just does the whole song.
mm,
So,
I mean that I gotta listen to that song.
but oh wait, is it different noises? Hold on wait a second. No, yeah. Anyway, yep. So definitely worth the 25 bucks. It's,
And then some.
here's the other thing that I like more about this one than the other one is this bottom piece is like
Mm.
solid metal, die-cast metal.
Oh,
It's
that's
you
cool.
pop this off and put the batteries up in the handle, but the fact that this is metal and weighs a lot like really balances this thing.
Oh,
So it
that's
actually
cool.
does feel like the other one really just felt I keep pointing at it because it's like hanging on the wall there. But um that one always just felt like awkward to hold. Like you wouldn't actually want to use it. Oops. For like you wouldn't want to use it for cosplay because it would just be awkward to carry, but this one feels like it feels good. Like it's nicely balanced and everything. So anyway,
Nice.
Power Sword. I've already pre-ordered the next one, which is Billy's Power Lance, and
Nice.
which Bandai never made. Well, I mean, they did in the '90s, but like they never made in the Legacy series. And
Hmm.
I've already pre-ordered it. It does come apart. It does do the extendo thing. And the idea is that these will eventually come. They will make a power blaster. So
That's awesome.
what I don't see anywhere on here is any sort of like connection points that would um like indicate that this thing can combine with anything. But since this is the sword and it basically just kind of like clips on top,
Uh huh.
nothing necessarily needs to connect to it. But yeah, they
It's
should.
quite cool. It's
They
quite
should
cool.
all connect. So anyway, all right, Pat.
Nice.
Topic
Now
number next. I'm sorry.
wait.
Did you?
I have one small follow up.
Okay, go ahead.
How because I'm looking at eBay and they're showing me nothing good. How late in the game am I if I wanted a morpher for
Like
not ridiculous amounts of money?
a Hasbro morpher or a Bandai morpher?
Any I would take literally anything, including a third party thing, to have like a just probably Green Ranger because he was always my favorite morpher. It doesn't have to be super functional. It could just be a fun toy. Like I'm actually what I've been seeing that I would kind of dig is the micro machines or the whatever they had like the little play sets that looked like a morpher and then you would open them up and have little like not Mad Max. You know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
What's his name? What's his name?
Mighty Max.
Max. Mighty Max. Mighty Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how screwed am I?
Well, the Hasbro has not made a Green Ranger one yet.
Okay, so
They've
maybe there's something coming up
yeah,
someday.
they've made the regular one, which comes with the original 5 power coins. Um,
Now, original retail on because I saw that and it looks really cool.
yeah. Then
But
they
original retail on that was around what would you say?
$50 roughly. I want to say 50 or
That's
60
not bad.
bucks.
I feel like $50 is around where I'd be interested in. Like I'm seeing the Bandai green white one that goes for around $400 these days.
Mhm.
So I'm not willing to pay that much.
Let me because since we're on the topic and I like to show off my collection. Hold on a second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me let me get down all of the morphers here real quick.
Okay, because
I
Power
can't see it
Rangers.
all down.
I'm talking to the audience at this point.
Uh,
Power Rangers has always been one of those. I really liked the Mighty Morphin one. But the when it came to the like anything past Mighty Morphin, I was almost embarrassed to be like, oh yeah, I'm into that because it was right at that age where it's like, maybe you shouldn't be so into this stuff. I remember having a Green Ranger figure in my pocket in grade school, and probably was like sixth grade, maybe. I mean, obviously, whatever. At this point, shit, I still buy kids' toys now, and I'm a father. Uh, you know, so it is what it is. But at the time I was like, "Oh no, I don't think I can let people know that I still like action figures or I still watch shows like this or anything." So my love for Power Rangers kind of got stifled because it came at that time. You know what I mean? Um and so it's just like I love Mighty Morphin and I'm happy to say that I love Mighty Morphin. But I all except for some action figures, I don't really have much collectible wise. And I don't have a super lot of um, props or what role play items.
yep.
Um,
I think
you
that's
know,
what
I have
Hasbro calls them as role play items. But
I have a Green Lantern, life size one of those. I've got some He-Man and Skeletor weaponry. Um, and that's about it. But I do feel like in the grand scheme of things, a Power Rangers Green Ranger morpher and or dagger, but I always feel like the dagger is more money than I'd like to spend on it. You know what I mean? Like they've come out with some beautiful ones and they're always just like, oh, and I mean they're worth it. You know what I mean? Like every time I've seen them go up, I was like, that's what it's worth. But like I'm not willing to pay it.
Mhm.
you know. So I really wish, especially because those morphers can't be super complicated. Or I guess they could be, but they don't have to be super complicated. I wish they would come out with one in the like $20 range.
Yeah.
That would be
Well,
I would be all over that,
they
but
put
I don't know about that.
they put more electronics into these things than you really technically need.
Right. To
You
make them
know?
worth the dollar amount,
Yeah.
like I said, they're worth what they're asking. I just wish they were a little
The
less.
the one that's currently available on Hasbro's website is the Pink Ranger only morpher. Uh,
Uh-huh.
in the movie, the first movie, they had their morphers were like custom colored to them instead of having just black
Right.
on them. They had their own custom colors. So there is a Pink Ranger morpher. It's $53. It only comes with the one coin, which is why I am trying to remember. I assume the normal one with all 5 coins was a little bit more, but this is the current Hasbro one,
Well, that's nice.
and I have a Pink Ranger coin in there right now. What's cool about these is that when you put the coin in, actually let me turn off my sound filter again, just so that you guys can hear what it does. So when you put a coin in, you put it in and you twist it, and then it kind of detects which one it is, except that it always misdetects the Pink Ranger one. Like I'm pretty sure it thinks it's the Black Ranger, so that when you hit the button, it'll say the name of the person. So it's misdetecting. It always thinks that if it can't detect it, it just says Mastodon.
Interesting.
So
Do you
that's
know what the detector is? Like, is it a chip? Is it
no, it's
a
God, that's not.
slot?
Yeah, on the back of the coin, there's like tabs in a certain order. So when you put it in
Uh-huh.
and twist it, it pushes buttons in a certain order,
Right.
and that's how it detects. And so like one of the tabs on the Pink Ranger coin does not connect properly. I don't know if that's universal or if that's just on my copy, but so this is the first Bandai one. It's metal
Oh,
on the
that's
outside.
nice.
The Hasbro one is all plastic, but they're almost the exact same size.
But you
Uh,
know what? Just looking at them, uh the Bandai one looks like a real one, and
yeah,
the other one looks like a toy.
yeah. It's weird that the I don't know what reference they used, but like the red banner around the Hasbro one is a
Yeah,
lot
it's like
smaller,
thinner and
and I don't know why
interesting.
they do that. I do like so this is not the original coin. The original coins had like a black wash on them, which made them look kind of gross. And so
Uh-huh.
then Bandai later released a set of not gross ones. So this is a not gross one, but this is the Hasbro one. They're just a lot shinier,
hmm
and I guess they're maybe a little bit smaller too. The the Hasbro ones have the little tabs on the sides, the top and bottom,
Okay.
so that they can put them in and twist them, and that's how the original toys were. These are metal. These all the coins are metal. The Bandai ones are just they just clip in on the sides. They're a lot thicker and a lot heavier. I mean, all in all, the Bandai role playing stuff has been a lot more like substantial.
hmm
But these just do. I'm only going to do this once. Hold on. Oh, actually, are these batteries dying? Batteries might be
Ooh.
dying. Yeah, batteries are dying. Never mind. So
What else
that's
did it? What did it do? What was?
it just makes the noise that happens on the show when they first pop their morphers open, and then the lights
Uh-huh.
the lights blink around the way it's supposed to. That's pretty much it. Can play the theme song too. Everything can play the theme song. So that's
Everything can play the theme song.
yeah. So that's the original, and then there's the Tommy morpher, which is gold, slightly gold.
Uh-huh.
These are both from Bandai. So the
Nice.
Tommy morpher, I think it came with the dragon and the tiger coins.
Yeah,
They all do.
that's
They
what
all
I'm
do
seeing
come with.
online.
All of them come with the belt
Like
clip
a
for you to put it in.
holster thing.
Yeah, all of them come with that.
Wait,
Um,
that thing's supposed to clip on your belt?
yes, Pat. It's got the
Dear
belt clips on it.
God, I love it.
You know, on
All
the
right. Yeah,
yeah
I
on the
get you.
show. Technically, this is how the morpher is attached to their belt, but the prop on their belt when it's not supposed to be a thing that they pull it off, it's clearly just like flattened up on there. It's basically like
Right.
just the silver part on top of the black. But yeah. So the Tommy one, I think, is exactly the same on the inside. Yeah, they're both red on the inside. Because that's how it's supposed to be. I wonder how. Jeez, that was probably loud because I didn't have the canceler Let
It
me see if the
was.
batteries on this one are good. Yeah, there you go. So when you
Nice.
first turn it on, it does that to let you know it's on, and then it goes. That's pretty much it.
That's fair.
So then, Pat, just to be a show off now,
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the final thing in my collection, my pride and joy here. In Ninja Steel, there was an
Hmm.
episode called Dimensions in Danger in which Tommy returned along with a bunch of other veteran Rangers. And they revealed that he now has the Master Morpher, which allows him to morph into any of his Ranger forms whenever he
Ooh.
wants. And there's a specific coin for every one of his Ranger forms, even if they didn't have coins. So, using um, I used the exact same things that they used to make the prop on the show, which was they modified the Red Ranger movie version of the Morpher
Okay.
to make this. So I got myself a Red Ranger movie Morpher. Um, Went to found a site that was making these gold plated things,
Oh, look at that.
the gold plated sides. So I removed the original ones that were on here and put these gold plated ones on. Then another site was making these stickers for it, and yet another site was making these custom coins. So this is the oh,
Nice.
and yet another site was making an insert that is green instead of red.
Ah,
So this is basically a screen accurate Master Morpher with the Zeo coin in it. And I do have the
nice.
coins for his other forms. I have the I guess the only other one is the Dino Thunder coin because all the other ones I had because they came with the other morphers. But yeah, so this is how he can morph into his Zeo form whenever he wants. And the back is silver instead of gold. That's the movie
Hmm,
thing. So yeah, I'm very
that
very
is
happy with
awesome.
my and the detail on the Zeo coin is very detailed.
It is very detailed.
So anyway, that's my morpher collection. Um, well, my Mighty Morphin Morpher collection. I also have Zeo morphers back there. I got a lot of stuff hanging on the prop wall back there.
That's the beauty, man. You're doing it. You're living the dream.
Hmm.
That's I've honestly I've always loved um the idea of having these kinds of things. Like I said, like the Green Lantern, Lantern, and Ring sitting around, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Morpher. I just love the notion of. In fact, I had visions of the future of our long defunct comic book store. I wanted to ultimately build in things like this, where it would be like, oh, as if we somehow found the Green Ranger's, morpher before, he after he became the White Ranger. We have this, like that kind of stuff. I always thought was a really fun idea. Um, I am looking at all sorts of stuff on Etsy now. Now
Yeah,
I've found myself on Etsy. They're not necessarily cheap.
there are some things you can 3D print too. Like I 3D printed my kids the Energems from Dino Charge that they can hang
Hmm.
around their necks and everything, and they look pretty cool. Um,
Nice.
there's probably other things too, but like sometimes you can just get the model and 3D print it because now I got that nice new 3D printer here.
Yeah.
So nice. I love it. It's
Yeah. It
so
looks like
much easier
I
than
just
our old
found
piece
one
of
for
crap.
like $8.
Um,
Well, that's
let's
not detailed. Anyway,
let's shift gears
yeah.
here.
Shift the gear.
Shift into turbo. No wait, sorry, that's another. Hey, let's talk about X-Men trading cards. I don't care about any of the other topics on
All
our
right.
list. I want to know about the trading cards.
I feel like I ask you this every time we get on this topic. You were not really a trading card collector,
No,
were you?
no,
So
not at all. But I am a person who keeps accidentally activating this morpher,
yeah,
and it's
I
been just
think
a
that's
minute.
cool though.
It's going to do it again in a minute on its own when it
That's
shuts off.
that's good. So
There's no off switch.
while we wait for that, allow me to present this wonderful book. I feel like LeVar Burton right now because I'm talking about a book. That's
Take a look.
those are the
It's in
only
a book.
similarities.
Hmm.
Um, so this is the Uncanny X-Men Trading Cards Complete Series, all cards illustrated by Jim Lee. Um, book.
According to Amazon, it's illustrated by young superstar penciler Jim Lee.
Yes, yes. He was young and a superstar penciler at the time. What's really cool about this book is everything, if you ask me.
Mhm.
So when you open the first real page of the book, it is a picture of the old pack of cards. When you get to, spoiler alert, the last page in the book,
Oh no,
it is wonderfully the back of the pack of cards.
that's pretty cool.
So that in that it's genius. There's a wonderful. I was not expecting this part. See, here's a picture of the original box. That's really cool.
Hmm.
You know, where so Ed Pisker, I doubt that's how you say his name, um, wrote the foreword, and I've read through most of this. Um, oh, this stuff is really cool. See, they include some of these. There are Jim Lee's original pencils for the, obviously inks as well, for the Magneto card. There's a couple of those in there. There's some of the old ads, which are really fun. Um, they talk about, so basically these sets. Oh, that's wonderful. That's This right here
That's
is
some.
my childhood. That
Yep.
is beautiful. I love it. Um, so the set of X-Men specific cards came out, I think right before series 2 or right after series 2. One of the two. Um, I'm sure it says somewhere in this book. But what I wasn't expecting was this larger, um or larger than I expected anyway, portion of the book where they just talk about designing the cards and how, what Jim did, what other people did. They had colorists and stuff. Jim just did the pencils. Um, just did the pencils, as
Hmm.
if that was,
Yeah, that's all he had. All
that's
he.
all he had to do was draw all the cards. So somebody else came in and colored them and everything. Um, and so you have 56 or roughly 55 pages of awesome content, that I was not expecting in this book, because I was really just expecting the book to just reprint the cards, and you just be like, "Oh, look, I got all the cards in a book now." But then page 57 comes, and there you got, they start reprinting the cards. And it's cool. You get on the next page, you get the back of the card, and then you get the next card, and so on and so forth. There are little blips underneath them. Just about like the process, like somebody, on the Wolfsbane card here, they talk about how, most of the foliage was done with marker dots. They just sat there and went blop 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 blop
Oh
foliage.
wow, wow.
So they get into some color theory and like actual, like, in-depth talking about some of the cards. um I found it very funny. They said one of the most requested cards was Lockheed. Like, people will come up to them and be like, "Oh, do you still have that original art? I would buy that right now." They're like, "No, get out of here." um and they even go as far, which I thought was pretty cool, to attempt to photograph the holograms. They look terrible, but they attempt it because holograms don't photograph well.
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
um,
onto non-holographic paper.
yeah. So holograms are still a delightful mystery to my mind. Um, I still don't fully understand how they work. Uh, but then, so this, again, wonderful book full of great, tidbits and knowledge. I actually don't know that Jim Lee is talked. I don't think Jim Lee is part of this. I think it's everybody but Jim Lee that was involved in this book.
Oh, that's too bad.
Um, yeah, it does kind of suck. I love that they included this just to like give you a sign of the times.
Oh man.
Um, I love those so much. Well, plus, of course, if you look, one of the cards was included in that this
Hmm.
wave. This wave 2 had, a lot of the X-Men trading cards in there. You would get a lot of free trading cards. Um, so one of the coolest parts of this book for me being a collector of trading cards. So if you go to the very back page of the book, you get
Hmm.
four brand new ish trading cards. Oh, mine just fell out. Um, I will show them to you now.
Are you going to trade them?
So I am not because I want them. So these are not new art, but they are welcome in my collection verily. Gotta be careful when opening them because I don't want to mess them up. I'd hate to have to buy a whole new book just to get more cards. So one of the cards is the Danger Room, and I'll explain why this card is fun. This card is actually made up of 9 cards. So there was a 9 card. You can kind of see how they're separated out.
Yeah.
Um, this was Nightcrawler, Archangel, Storm, Gambit, Wolverine, Shatterstar, Cyclops, Cable, and Colossus's cards in the set. And when they were all in a page together, they made a whole Danger Room. And so they shrunk that down into a Danger Room card, which is very, very cool. I'm very excited to put these in the box, or in the binder with the rest of my guys. And then this was unexpected, but again, delightful and perfect. Um, they went ahead and made X-Men #1
Oh,
3
nice.
cards. And so that's going to look just great. I'm going to do these 3 cards across the top and then the new Danger Room in the middle. So it wonderful addition. I love when they do stuff like this and make it available to people because they in a recent card set within the last couple of years they did a handful of cards that were in the same style as these and the old Marvel cards, and it really sucks because everybody loved them, and they were, of course, the short pack, you know, uh, get them if you can cards,
Hmm.
and so they're very expensive now. So it sucks when they make something that obviously a collector is going to want, and then make it so scarce that they just cannot have it. So this stuff is awesome. You bought the book, that means you got these. Um, and then if all that wasn't enough, which it totally is, if you take the dust jacket off, now first of all, you got again, this is the image that they used for the box art, which is very cool. I'm gonna have to be careful with that. The glue is worn out on the stickers that were holding the trading cards in place. But so the jacket itself, when you flip it over, there's a delightful Jim Lee print. Try to pull it back here.
Oh, I haven't
Uh,
seen that art in
uh,
forever.
yeah, right, right. But it's still, it's definitely recognizable. You're like, oh, look at them! Look at all them! It's so much fun, so much. Look at Strong Guy is puffing on a cigar.
Hmm.
That can't happen anymore.
Mm-mm. Nope.
um, and this is just such wonderful '90s art. There's so many useless lines on things. Nobody's feet are visible. You'd almost think Liefeld drew it, but he didn't. This is Jim Lee. But they're both products of their time. You know.
Hmm.
Um, this is wonderful. These were all of the X families that I grew up. There's a handful of them that I've never read a damn thing about. I think mostly X Force and a little Excalibur. Um,
I used to like
but
Excalibur.
I like see it's so funny because again that Shadow Cat, that is my iconic Shadow Cat. That is the Shadow Cat that I subscribe to being the only Kitty Pride I want. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But that was definitely Excalibur Shadow Cat. So I don't even know why I tend towards that version of her, but other than these cards, probably.
Yeah,
So
probably. That's
you know
exactly
they
why.
they all play a role. So, But in any case, this was $22, I think. It was just released about maybe 4 or 5 days ago. Um,
We got the
and so
Amazon
yeah, they're
listing here. It's 22.49.
22.49. It is well worth the money. If there's any indication on how the Star Wars ones went, which are basically the same type of books, these will go out of print and they will go up in price. You know, when I had like all these trading card books. This is the first one I actually purchased, but I have them all on my wish list, and all of a sudden, I think the first Star Wars one maybe is up to like 50 or $60 trying
Yikes.
to, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's a lot of used ones, but they don't come with the special edition reprint cards or whatever they have. These are not reprint cards. These are, new cards. So,
Yeah.
you can get to you. Yeah, if you look there, yeah, if you're on the Amazon listing, you can see there's a couple of pages there of different fun things to see. But
Yeah. It's not. They're kind
it's
of
it's
tiny.
well worth the yeah. They don't want you to. Yeah, those are the cards that you get that might be a little bit better than what I showed you. I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
In any case, I definitely think it's worth the $22 if you're nostalgic at all about the trading cards. I personally I have a vast trading card collection for these things, so I have all of these trading cards, and I still think it's nice that I can just pull a book off the shelf rather than lug out the giant binder and go, what did that card say? If they put out a book of this for every Marvel, I will buy every one of them. I think it's wonderful that you can just check them out and see the old art, and it's just fun. I thoroughly enjoy this kind of thing.
Hmm.
So hopefully other people do too.
Yeah. I as soon as I saw, I got a notification from something that had just been released, and I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh man, I hope Pat got this."
yeah, yeah. I think you sent it to me, and I was like, it's already on its way.
Yep. Yeah, because
So
although I didn't collect them, I knew you had them. Even back
yeah,
then, I knew you were collecting them. I knew other people who had them. I probably had like a pack at some point.
right. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure as a kid you just had some. Well, you definitely had some. You had some of the figures
yeah.
that came with the figures, so
That's
you
actually
had,
probably where I got them.
you
But
know.
either way, the art, that Jim Lee art, is
Oh,
iconic.
yeah, it
Uh,
is.
I remember looking at yours in a binder at some point when we were kids. I don't remember.
I One of the coolest things that ever happened to me as a sixth grader was that you remember Jordan Heron. He was a very cool eighth grader
Name sounds
when we were.
familiar. Sure.
He drew as well. That's why the teachers would make comparisons between the two of us a lot because we were both very good at drawing. And he he liked Marvel cards. And I remember distinctly there was like one day where um we had recess inside because of rain or something like that. And I had like those clear boxes for trading cards.
Hmm.
I had all my extras in there, and I brought them to school, and he traded with me, and it was just like I felt like $1 million. Like this eighth grader who was cool, and the girls liked because he was, I suppose handsome, I guess. Um, he was hanging out with me to trade superhero cards. This is not like today, kids,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where superheroes were like everybody was talking about superheroes. If you were talking about superheroes, you were a nerd, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
We were relatively proud nerds, but never prouder than when a higher classman who people respect, he was like on the football team and stuff, like he was respected. He came down to our level and traded trading cards with us. That is definitely how it felt. So yeah, it was super cool. I obviously have a lot of emotions tied into that day.
Clearly, you remember it like
I
perfectly.
do. I do remember. It is one of my core memories. Apparently, I have a vivid memory of this interaction. It was like 30 seconds. He was like, "Oh, look at the cards. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Oh, you want to trade me for this one?" I was like, "Yeah. What do you want? Whatever." Probably gave me some bullshit I already had, but I was like, I don't care. I just traded cards with Jordan Aaron. This is the best day of my life.
What a nerd.
What a fucking nerd. Oh, I love it. I love that
Speaking
little guy.
speaking of being a
Next
nerd,
time.
I want
Yeah.
to I want to get through our topics here. Talk.
Okay.
Let's switch to Cold Dar. Cold Dar. He's cold.
Koldar.
Is he cold?
Koldar, master of the universe, everyone's favorite Koldar.
I've
Koldar.
literally never heard. I swear I'd heard. I thought I'd heard of every single Masters of the Universe character. I'm not a huge MOTU fan. I'm not a He
Yeah,
fan.
and I definitely did not remember this guy. I had to look up his. Well, here's the thing. So first of all, I will buy any Masters of the Universe figure, roughly any Masters of the Universe figure. I could stop there. I could stop there. I want to say that I'm trying to start coming down to these kinds of things that were never made back in the 80s. I don't like I've lately I realized how many of these fucking things have come out, and I'm like, jeez, why do I did not need a web store with slightly better articulation than the one from the 80s. Why do I have this? I've spent now, and they keep raising the prices of everything. The regular figures are $19 now. The mega, the big pack figures are like 25, and it's like that's a lot.
Oh,
That's a lot.
okay. So tell me
Of
about this
course,
guy.
this guy came from Mattel Creations, which made him all the more special. He did come in a fancy little brown box. I already took him out of that. Sorry, but I didn't take him out of this yet. This, the back packaging. Oh, it's so good.
Very
I
shiny.
know it's hard to see the glare, but I think that's a good shot. Look at how pretty that is. Oh,
It looks
and
amazing.
he's got a really cool mechanical Pegasus.
Pegasus.
He's fighting Pegasi maybe. He's
No,
fighting all
if there's
these.
just one, it's just a Pegasus.
Good. He's fighting all these snake creatures, which are I don't think any of them are any characters that we know.
I was gonna
Uh,
ask, is he from like the Snake Man era?
I don't know. I gotta let my dog out of the room so she can go inspect the house. So from what I gleaned quickly from his Wikipedia article,
That's where we're at here.
uh, let me pull this up real quick because again, I have watched all of the episodes of He-Man in my adult life, and for whatever reason, I don't remember this guy at all. Um,
Is this a Mandela effect? Did this
maybe maybe
is it
this
possible
character
we finally had one?
just showed up. Um, let's see, even the page Kaldar does not exist. The list of He-Man and Masters of the Universe characters section Kaldar does. Uh,
What does that mean? What does that imply?
it implies that you have to like that this character was not important enough. He was voiced by John Irwin, who He-Man.
He-Man voiced him, yeah.
He's a gladiator-like warrior, an ally of He-Man.
Hmm.
He flies around on Shadow Master, an armored flying horse,
That's cool.
and he has the ability to blend in to. Oh, I guess Shadow Master is just the horse. Has the ability to blend into any shadow, and that's all that's in there. That's all that they say.
So
Let me look him up real quick here.
he's
He was
like
I
his
he
power
is
is no one can see him or is aware that he exists.
yeah, kinda. Well, that's
Very,
his horse,
it's very
so
appropriate.
that's not even his power.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm on Wiki Grayskull now.
Okay.
He's an old friend and ally of He-Man. He rides a mechanical Pegasus called Shadowmaster.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
came to visit He-Man at the royal palace. Skeletor lured him into a trap
Skeletor.
and used the mirror of Maravada to make an evil
Do,
double of him.
do,
And
do,
I'm
do,
sure I butchered the mirror of whatever.
do,
The
do, do.
double asked to see the inside of Castle Grayskull and then ran off in search of its secrets.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, Koldar tricked Skeletor into creating a good double of himself, which he sent to the royal palace to disable the free. Like this sounds like a great episode. What episode
Sounds
is this?
crazy.
Um, Double Trouble episode is the 111th episode of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Oh no,
So I'm gonna have to look this up and watch this
that's
episode.
that's way too
Uh,
close to the end, or too far from the beginning. I would have never seen that.
right. Give
I've been trying to
give me one.
transform this transformer while you've been talking, and it is just not going. You're doing the dog thing, huh? So yeah, I'm trying to do this guy, and this thing is just look at he's all bent in the waist. The heck is going on here?
Weird stuff. All right, I'm
I'm
gonna
just
open this
I'm
cold.
just filling time. Oh, jeez.
Him not.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So,
I ruined everything.
all right. So again, I love this back packaging. So I'm gonna try to be nice to this and not ruin up the box because when they're cool like this, I like to keep hold of the artwork if I can. And again, this is a Mattel Creations exclusive, which means it will never see retail release.
You can
And
only
I
get it
can,
on their website.
and it's already sold out. So this is all gone.
So it's too late for
Uh,
you if you're watching this now, in the present or in
watch
the
this
future.
now. Check out my eBay listing for not this one.
Did you just let the dog out of your room?
I let her back in.
Oh, okay. I
See,
thought you said you were leaving to let her out, and then I just saw her walking around again. And I thought maybe this is like when I have a cat sleeping in the room in my office upstairs, my bedroom office, and he's sleeping on the bed, and then I get up and come downstairs, and he's somehow already down at the food dish. This happens
magic.
a lot. You
I
don't see him sneak by.
it's cats, right?
Cats.
Cats. So, cat, where did my knife go?
That's cats. I just cannot get this guy. I know this is riveting television here, but I'm just trying to get this
It is.
arm.
You're trying to get an arm. I'm trying to get the thing.
There.
Boom,
Did
boom,
that do
boom.
it? No? Yes, yes. There we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to get. No, no.
What are you transforming, Brian?
Uh, so I got this just random transformer on my desk, and I thought it would be fun to transform him.
And what do you think now, Brian?
Think. Ah. Oh, that just hurt my finger.
I think I've injured myself.
There we go. You just had to push really, really hard. That's all. Yeah, I'm putting the Springer toy. He's a triple changer. Anywho, um,
So,
yeah, you ready? You ready to show it off? I'm trying to
just
fill
about.
time.
So he, again, I feel the need to point out that he was never meant for retail,
Which
and
means
yet
he's
he's got all
dead.
these
Oh,
stupid things all over him that keep him from coming out of the box. Okay,
well,
so here he
that's
is.
for shipping purposes.
No, it's not. Don't give me your garbage. Now, again, based on all of his imagery, his uh, his armor should be like a dark gold, but it's
It's
not.
not
It's
though.
a very light gold, which
What are
is
they up
weird.
to? What are they trying to pull here?
Um, what are they trying to pull here? What else are they trying to pull here? Is that his? Oh, there it goes. Okay, thank God. I thought it was going to break. His waist was like really tightly stuck, and now it's broken. I broke it. I broke it.
Why did you do
No,
that?
they do that. It's a
Oh, okay.
joke. It's a joke. Still don't know why they do that. I think it's kind of a
This whole thing is a joke.
they don't like make it a part of the characters or anything like, hey, switch this around. No, they just said, yep, the ability is there. We're not going to play into that ability at all, but it's there. So anyway, I mean, he's a very cool looking figure. I really like his helmet. I like his armor. Obviously his base body is essentially just a regular He-Man. His feet and shin guards are different, but everything else, his uh, his head is interesting in that they definitely gave him like a face underneath the helmet, but then just painted it black. Like if you look at him in the eyes.
Here, let me put you on full screen a second.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bop, eyes.
Can you
Again,
take the helmet off?
it's no helmet is non-removable, or if it is, it might ruin the figure to take it off. So I'm not going to. He came with looks like a just a reuse of the uh Triclops sword. Also, I guess Fisto came with that, maybe too.
Mhm.
Don't take my word for it. And then I think this is this axe also came with the new Ram Man. It wasn't obviously Ram Man's original axe. That's very different than that. But I think it could plug into it, which is why there's a hole in the bottom of this one.
Mhm.
So basically, this figure was just like a hey, how many parts can we reuse and just slap a different head on it? Um, and I assume like this chess piece is probably something that's going to be used for other characters. Like this looks like you remember Goat Man. He was only in like one of the comic books.
Nope. Sorry.
His chest armor looks a lot like that. So I assume we'll get a Goat Man in the future. Um, you might know, you might recognize Goatman because he had a figure in the classics line,
I
and it
feel
could
like
have been
we,
when we were
yeah,
collecting him.
I feel like we've talked about Goat Man at some point.
I mean, all in all, this is a really sweet Masters of the Universe style figure. There's no nostalgia for him for me. Again, I don't remember the episode he's from, but I still like it. It's a good figure,
Mhm.
and he comes with this mini comic that is about him, so maybe it'll shed some light on that.
You want to read it
So.
to us?
All right, kids, gather. Oh no, it's very wordy. Now, if it was short, I would read it to you guys. But it looks to be a very similar uh, type of story where, for some reason, he's a bad guy. Oh, I see. He's being controlled by somebody else, and then both He-Man and him punch the guy, and they're like, "Yep, that's it." Ha 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 ha. So
Yep,
that's pretty
that's
much
the
it.
guy.
It's fun. That's the guy. And that's all we have to say about the guy. I tell you what is interesting about these toys in general. So I am part of a lot of He-Man groups. He-Man, Master of the Universe is probably my favorite toy line. Um, and I don't know why this one and Wonder Bread He-Man, just they're the same as every other Mattel Creations release has been.
Mhm.
They are hard to come by. They sell out quickly. If you're in line, if you're there right when they release it, and you don't, you're signed in and everything, which I try to make sure I am. I've not had a problem. I've had a couple of close calls, but I've always been able to get the figure. I also am one. When I can afford to, I get two of them, so I can trade later. If I miss out on something, I have something to trade. I've got a backlog now, which I'm going to probably try to sell because they're going for okay money on the secondary market. But like, there's this weird stigma where people just really really hate that.
Really?
They hate that, like, any of these guys that have come out where it's like, like I said, like, it's not like I buy, the limit is three. I don't buy three. I only buy two. I buy one for myself and potentially one to trade. These figures usually retail for around $17, and the market trends have been that they resell for about 75 after they've sold out. Actually, they sell for a ton right after they sell out, and I've never jumped on that bandwagon because I don't like selling something I don't actually have. I feel funny about that.
That's essentially
Um,
scalping. I feel
right.
like that's
Like I
yeah,
don't like doing that,
that
and
crosses the line.
people do that a lot. Like that, the Sandman figure.
Mhm.
We reviewed it on the show.
Yeah.
Um, that was going for like hundreds of dollars. Like I saw it sell for like $400 or $500 after the initial, but that was because, and that the whole reason I bought that one was because we didn't realize it was coming out in the regular line as well. Like still a special edition. It's still like the packaging is special edition. It comes with an extra head that you can't get anywhere else. So all these things make it very special.
Mhm.
Um, but like people were selling them for at least two, three, and like I said, I saw a couple go for $400 and $500. Um, and now again, they're worth probably about 75. So like the market seems to go really crazy right after they sell out, and then tumbles back down to around 50 to $75. But again, it's I mean that's a solid investment if you're going to say, hey, I can afford an extra 17, 18 bucks to get a second one, um, and know that you hang tight to it for a little bit, and you can either trade it or sell it for roughly 3 or 4 times its value. So I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I but again, like there's this stigma where I I really don't want to list them all for sale because I feel like half of the comments are going to be people being like, "You scalping bullshitter," blah, blah, blah. And
Um,
it's like,
yeah, they wouldn't be
sorry,
wrong.
guys. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like they're you know I'm not doing this to be malicious. You know what I mean? My intent is not malicious, but I'm also not stupid. Like I'm not going to sell it for what I bought it for just to make other people feel better about it if it's worth more than that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's a tough being a toy collector who flips toys to collect toys. Like that's I try to keep my budget by how many toys I sell are roughly how many toys I let myself buy. It's a contained ecosystem, whereas I don't feel like I'm overreaching by buying things. If I'm saying, well, I got this other thing over here that's worth something, I'm going to sell that and then pick up the new things I want. I just found out. Um, you remember when NECA first got Ninja Turtles and they were doing the comic book Turtles stuff? No, you don't?
No, I do. Yeah, I know what you're
Okay.
talking about.
So
Yeah, yeah,
so
they're
they
like
came out,
they're kind of black and white.
they did a black and white set, they did an all red set, and then somehow, some way, like somebody in China got a hold of the molds and did the same molds and did the all the turtles in the cartoon colors and everything. Those are very cool. Again, those sculpts are some of the best toys I've ever seen in my life. I hands down, I look at those turtles all the time and I'm in awe of them. I bought in April and a shredder, never even hoping that they would get to the cartoons, because the comics I didn't read much, especially the early ones, you know. So I don't even really want the April and Shredder anymore because I have the animated Shredder. The animated April is also really crazy. You can't really get a hold of her, but I don't have any use for the Mirage version of April and Shredder. So I was looking at it recently, and they have shot through the freaking roof like
Hmm.
crazy. Like Shredder just sold on eBay for $240 without even all of his parts. Like he
Wow.
came with a couple of hands and a couple of different weapons. And I was like, because he was part of a 4 pack that you could only get at San Diego Comic Con.
Ah.
And it was him and three versions of foot soldiers and a Utram. Um, and then April also came with some Mousers, and then there was also like a 3 pack of regular Mousers. April sells for like 150 to $200. Sometimes the Mousers by themselves, like the ones that came with April, sell for like $100. Like it has gone insane. Um, but again,
If
it's
you
like
if you want a
okay,
mediocre April O'Neil figure, you can still get the April and Michelangelo 2-pack from the Lightning collection.
no thank you, no thank you,
Okay.
no I want.
Let's let's switch
But
gears
anyway,
to I
yeah,
want to finish this up soon.
switching gears.
Give me we want to talk about Sandman. I haven't watched it yet because
Okay.
I'm always behind on everything. So give me like a spoiler-free review for a couple of minutes. What do you love about this show? Should people watch it? What pet?
If you have any love for Sandman, you should watch the show. If you've ever read it or ever been interested in it, you should watch the show. The show is beautifully done. I I have never seen an adaptation do what this has been able to do because it tells the story in a little bit of a new way. Again, this doesn't really ruin anything. This is still pretty spoiler free. The Corinthian, I don't know if you're familiar. He's the character. Maybe if you've only ever seen bits and pieces, he has mouths where his eyes are.
Yeah.
And he's a nightmare, and he was around a little bit in the books, and then he was like the main bad guy in like one real story. But what they did is they made him kind of the main bad guy in the background of everything of this season.
Hmm. So
But they
Thanos.
did it in such a way. I mean, they did it in such a way where it helps along the story. Like, okay, so there's a couple of things that it's good to know going into it. They completely took out any reference to any other DC comic books. Now, in the original books, there were a fair amount. Now, there's a character that still exists because he has to. If you know the story, John D is a character who is Doctor Destiny. And so he's like a C level Justice League villain. He's not around a lot. He kind of looks like Skeletor. Um, and he he was a very big part of the story. So they couldn't do away with him. They just never reference him being Doctor Destiny. Now he is just John D. Um, and so there was a couple of parts where I was a little sad they weren't there, just because the book means so much to me. I've read it so many times. There's a portion where I can't even remember because I haven't read it in a while. Brian, uh, but
I,
um,
I think you could probably give up on ever getting that back from me.
I've given up, but I will never give up teasing you about it. So
Fair enough.
um but so there's a point where Dream is like traveling around, and he's looking for this information, and he travels through dreams, and at one point he travels through Scott Free's dreams, Mr. Miracle, which pops him out in like the very specific era of like Justice League International, um Justice League headquarters, and like has this fun, like very interesting and innocent interaction with Scott Free and Martian Manhunter, which ends in one of my favorite moments for Martian Manhunter, where he basically says to Scott Free, "Is like, well, that was weird, but I have a secret stash of Oreos in the kitchen. If you'd like to come with me, I'll share them with you." And so, like, of course, I wanted to see that because it's such a lovely little moment. But they just took, and it they did they make if you watch any of the interviews and stuff, they talk about it. It makes perfect sense why they did it. By the end of the Sandman books, they were completely disassociated from DC.
Hmm.
It was really just the early stuff when they didn't even know. And I mean, Neil Gaiman, I just read, he was like 28 years old when he wrote Sandman. It was one of his first big gigs. And interestingly, he pitched it to George R. R. Martin for like a novel series, and he was like, "No, that sounds dumb." Thankfully, because then DC or Vertigo, as it was, that the imprint was like, yes, come do this story. But again, when it started, it wasn't even supposed to be. It was supposed to be a horror book,
Hmm. Yeah.
and so especially in those early books, like there's a lot of like gruesome shit that happens. Um,
Is
and
that
and
how
they
does that carry over to the TV series?
so it's interesting. There's a particular sequence that I would say dreading. For those of you who've read the book, is uh, the diner issue, uh, and it has to do with John D. And they make it lighter,
Mm.
in not by a lot, but they make it lighter. It there this that episode is as close to like a Red Wedding kind of an episode. It's not as bad. But it's one of those things where I feel like if people don't know what's going on, and they didn't have the knowledge prior, it could be a turnoff for them. And I will say, if you get to that part and you're feeling that way, don't worry. The rest of the series is like they early on. Neil Gaiman said this is like each episode has its own feel to it, you know, and that is a heavy episode. That is a very heavy episode. But the next one isn't. You know, and it flows. It should not be. The show should not be judged by that episode as far as its tone goes. Um, but again, you know, to get back to kind of the overall of it, they make some changes, some of which that I was not thrilled with, you know, because again, when you get a property that means so much to you personally, you want to see it as faithfully as possible brought to light.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is that what it brought to light while I was watching it was and this is a little woke and I'm sorry. Um but like watching it I realized my own privilege because I was like, man, that character wasn't black. Man, that character was, and then I was like, there were no black people in that book, were there? Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like the reason why it's jarring is because the initial book was drawn by a white guy, was written by a white guy, and there was no reason in their minds to include anyone of color. Now, Sandman has always been very queer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's very LGBTQ plus, you know, it has always been that, and they do not shy away from that. Which is exactly what I wouldn't want them to do. You know,
Hmm.
the representation is there, and it is awesome. And there's a couple of gender swaps for characters, but none of them like you're not like looking at them being like, oh, why did this happen? You know, like I said, the biggest deal to me initially was Death's casting, and it was because I had grown so accustomed to her being a tiny little uh, white goth
Yeah.
punk chick, you
Yeah.
know. And I always screw up the actress's name who played Death. Let me look it up so I don't butcher it. Um, Now I type like an old man. um, Kirby Howell Baptiste. Is that
I
possible?
don't look at me. I have no idea.
Um, so anyway, she's fucking brilliant. She was perfect. Um, there was never a moment that while watching her act did I not completely buy her as the character, and you know she embodies the character perfectly, and I love her. So long story short, you know that was it was stupid for me to question. I mean, this is the bottom line. If you think about this, Neil Gaiman he wrote the show. You know, he's the original writer of the material, and he wrote the show.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's actually show running or not, but his hand is in everything.
Yeah.
You should probably go ahead and trust it.
Yeah. And it's
If
you
you
could if there's any changes, you can chalk that up to like, Neil Gaiman's sensibilities have adapted over the years. They've evolved, you know.
right, and like I said, like it was just so oddly apparent that I was like, wow, there were no. And I mean, obviously, there are people of color all over the world, everywhere, you know? So it's not like they shouldn't have been involved.
Hmm.
And so, you know, when you see that stuff, all it did for me ultimately is be like, wow, I can't believe I didn't notice that there were like no real representation of anybody because you don't think about that when you're a white dude or Dudette or whoever, and you're well represented, you don't think about representation because you're well represented.
Yeah.
That's your privilege.
Yeah. A lot of
So,
people, like you said, when suddenly you're not represented, then all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, 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 what's going on here? What happened to my representation? Yeah.
and let me be the first to say, there's plenty of white
Yes.
representation in
There
this,
always will be.
uh, but you know, they're none of the changes made me mad while watching it. You know, the fact that they did not use John Constantine, which I come to find out Neil Gaiman has corrected the world. We've all been saying it wrong.
Oh
It
yeah.
is not Constantine. The character was always Constantine.
So
Um, and so Joanna Constantine is who we meet in this story.
mhm.
And she plays the part exactly as John would have, you know. Um, and but there's no point where you're looking at her and you're like, this is just John Constantine but a lady. It's a different character. It's a different character. She makes sense in the lineage of things because um, that there is a Joanna Constantine from like hundreds of years ago that was involved in Sandman's story. And so this is just her like great 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 granddaughter or something like that, you know. Um in any case, it I think it was done very well. It's handled very well. Um I I don't know what everybody was so good. I Here's the weirdest thing for me. The weirdest thing for me watching this show. Somehow the guy they got to play Dream's voice is exactly the voice I always read
Really?
Morpheus in. Like somehow he embodied, like the second he started speaking, it was just like, holy shit. Like that was somehow the intangible voice in my head of Dream. They nailed it.
It's pretty
They
cool.
nailed it. There are more than several moments in the show that are like you could be holding the book up and be like, "Yep, there's that panel right there, right there." They do things very meticulously like that, um, and and like I say, I think they shove roughly 3 graphic novels into one season. So this could easily be a 4 to 5 season show, and cover all known Sandman material. I pray that it will. I mean, right now, like it debuted at number 1 in 80 countries or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll.
Um,
I'm sure they'll keep
it's
going.
where I can. I mean, they haven't said anything, but I feel pretty confident that we'll get at least a season 2 out of it.
Yeah,
Netflix knows what they're doing
they'll-
when it comes to canceling shows everybody loves, though. So,
exactly. They will continue to renew it until one day when they inexplicably don't, even though it's
but I'll tell you, this is the kind of thing. Like, I'm still surprised that the WB. Like, I don't know why this isn't on HBO Plus. You know what I mean? Like they own Warner Brothers, or Warner Brothers owns them or something.
mhm.
They opt all the Warner Brothers stuff, and this is a huge deal. Like Neil Gaiman has been fighting to not make Sandman movies or TV shows for 30 some years
Yeah.
because he didn't think that they were good enough, you know.
Mhm.
And he finally said, this is, we have a deal here where we're making the best version of this. And I have to agree. Like I have after seeing, like I the only thing that left me wanting is wanting more. The show is done so well and fleshed out in such an interesting way, and they're even giving more character growth than happens in the book. I feel like there are certain things that happen in this where you're watching things happen, and maybe it's happening a little faster, I guess, than it did in the book, because the book, I feel like, gave the book found took a little while to find its voice. I even remember when I was reading it the first time, the first couple of issues are, I hate to say this specifically about something I love so much, but the first couple of issues are kind of pretentious. Like Neil, you could just tell like Neil didn't know that it was going to last 75 issues, and he wanted to get all of his very intelligent thoughts out now. It's very wordy, it's very heavy, and as the series goes on, it gets smarter with its placements of things. And so when you get into it all equals itself out. Once you've read 9 graphic novels worth of material, you hardly remember that those first ones were kind of wonky. um, but you don't go through that with the series. because again, this is Neil getting to go back and edit himself. This is him saying, you know what, if I just did this, that would make things go faster. That would make
Yeah.
things make more sense.
And
Like I said, or go ahead.
you have to do that just to go from comic to TV,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely. I was reading, somebody said, he was the showrunner for um oh dang it, what's it called? The Angel and the Demon show on Good Omens. Good Omens. And if you
mm,
haven't watched that, you should. It's really great. And that was another thing that he did. That was, I think it was a novel. Um, and he was the showrunner on that, and he learned a lot from that to take to Sandman. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like everything that Neil has been doing for the last, I don't know, 30 years has led to
he
this.
needed to get the experience of other things so that he could confidently say, okay, now we can do Sandman. I know how to do it right.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm down for all the Sandman books. I would love to see the a Death offshoot. Death had several of her own books that are wonderful. Like the Death, I always thought there's a graphic that was called Death: The High Cost of Living,
Mm,
that deals with every 100 years or so, Death has to go live a mortal life for a while, and just so she can remember what she the gravitas of her job. And it's a wonderful one shot that could be a great movie or even just a standalone episode, really. They do that's one of the things that I think they do there, that they did particularly well, is that there's all sorts of little nuggets in Sandman, which is one of the reasons why I loved it so much. Like reading the books, there are things that they do talk about in the first graphic novel that don't pay off for like five graphic novels, and you're like, remember the thing we were talking about? Ho 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 ho! That comes back here. And what's even, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. What I realized more things about the comic while watching the show,
mm.
because there are some things that are hard, like especially the style in which Sandman was drawn. It was a very period,
It's
it
very
looks like a,
stylistic.
a,
Yeah.
a 80s stylized, book. Um, so if a character shows up here and then shows up again later, and you're like me and you don't keep track of characters' names super well, you're not going to realize they're the same character until you're watching a show and you're like, oh shit, I see how that led to this, led to this, led to this now. Boom. But also parts of, I haven't read it in a couple of years, and so I'm wondering now. I was like, man, I wonder if that was always that way or if they changed that for the show. So there's certain little things where it's like either, and it's very likely either I missed this plot point the first time around, uh,
You have to read
or
the book while you watch the show and like flip
right,
through it
to
as you
be
go.
honest, like that you could, like that's part of the beauty of how faithfully this was adapted, is you really could be holding the graphic in your hands and going, okay, okay, oh, they skipped that, okay, oh, they changed that, I see that, you know what I mean? Um like I said, all of the changes I feel made the story stronger. Anything that was moved around or whatnot only served the story better. I like that they gave the Corinthian a bigger role, because there were some things that make much more sense if he was involved, that with him not being involved, it relies on you believing that that character has a lot of knowledge about certain things. You know what I mean? Like that, like
Mhm.
this way he shows up and says, "Hey buddy, you should do this, this and this, and that'll help both of us out." Wink. You know, um because in the book it was not that way. It was like, "Oh, this guy's just super knowledgeable about X, Y, and Z, and so he figured all that out. Great." So, like I said, in it, what they did, everything was good. For me, I should say, I've also not found many people who didn't like it though.
I
Like
haven't
that's
found any.
that's The only people who I like, people who still are coming at it and be like, well, they changed this or they're using this kind of person. Like people were very mad over the person they hired to play um Desire, which is absurd because they obviously have never read the book, because the person who plays Desire is exactly who should be playing Desire. And everybody, people were upset that Death was black, and it's like all these things where, and like I said, I had my moments of like, oh, that's not what the character looks like, but I promise you, give it a shot. If that's where you're falling, just watch it. I can guarantee you will. Well, I can't guarantee you. If you're anything like me, you will drop that instantly when you watch her act, because she is Death. She embodies it beautifully. So, um, there you
That
go. That's
that's a
spoiler free.
perfect that's a perfect place to stop because I'm also watching the stream go out and noticing that the my internet is dropping a lot of frames, or it was a little bit ago, so I don't know what's going on. So we should probably end it here.
All right.
But yeah, we'll be back next week, maybe talking. I think Pat's going to have lots of stuff to show, and then we're also working on doing more video game stuff at some point in the future. So tune in next week. We'll probably be back on Friday, and we'll see you then.
Bye.
Oh, I got my Bubba in the way of the buttons. Hold on. Okay, bye. Bye for real.